Get up and get out. Get out. Get out.
I have a question for you.
Say Christ is Lord. Say Christ is Lord. Say it. You say Christ is Lord. Get out. Get out. Christ is Lord.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in to another episode of Offensively Accurate. This time it's going to be a special episode, and on top of that, a continuation of a series that hasn't been had for a little over a year now. And I know I've gained quite a lot of viewers since then, so many of you may be unfamiliar with who this is. But we're going to take a look behind the badge and get a insight into what's really going on, and I know a lot of people know I have a very nuanced view of policing. But before we get into that, a few announcements. The first thing I would like to say is make sure you check out the latest episode of Factions, hosted by Zeb Boykin and John Ward, from at noon. I think they can go from noon to 1 or noon to 2. They kind of just throw it up in the air. But at noon on Wednesdays, best lunch hour show you will ever see. The second thing from there is that Offensively Accurate merchandise is actually available now. You can find that on Bonfire. Although I'm not sure how long it will be hosted on Bonfire. It looks like we have a few different ideas of who can actually host it. We'll get there as we kind of refine some of these things down. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. I do appreciate that. And beyond there, and if you want to find the links for that, you can find it on the Discord channel under merchandise. I've also posted it on my X page as well. Remember, Bonfire, NAV, Atlas Thugged, as well as John Ward merchandise is on there. And the last thing is, don't forget that Offensively Accurate is also available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. So make sure if you like the show and you've smashed the like button, that you also give us a 5-star review. It is the best thing that you can do to help us on those platforms. So without any further ado, make sure you smash the like button. Let's get into it. And let's bring in Mr. River. Who are you, sir? And what do you do?
Aaron, nice to see you again, brother. My name is River Oates. I work for a police division here in Ohio. I've been doing it for almost 2 years with a pretty deep background of first responding. Been doing first responding since probably 2020 as an EMS provider back home. So pretty extensive so far, I would say, in the first responding world.
Yes, sir. And I believe the first time we actually had a conversation, we sat down, you were on the first responder side of it, right? More like paramedic?
So I was still on the EMS side, but I was getting ready to do the police academy. So it was right at the beginning of my law enforcement career. And then a few months later, when I was getting ready to get done with the academy, we shot off another episode. And so then I approached you a couple of days ago. I was like, hey, man, been doing this long enough now that I feel that we can go ahead and kind of complete the series.
Right.
I've seen enough stuff in that year since I've been on the road. So kind of I've seen it from both sides now, of both in front of the badge and now behind the badge.
Yeah, right. No, exactly. And we were just talking right before we went live about how, you're on one side of it, but still seeing like the worst things humanity has to offer. But now you're still seeing it, but you're just in a different uniform, still showing up to the same kind of sites. And it is tragic. I know I try to stay away from all of the 48-hour kind of true crime stuff, because it does kind of wear on you after a little bit when you see so many kind of similar, just be quite frank, like evil things happening. And it's just happening like in random towns in Baltimore, right? It's like, you see how bad it is. You go, I don't want any part of that. But I think the main thing is, what I was curious about is what a period of time to not be talking in, because a lot has kind of taken on in the, in the political realm. But let's just start there. What has changed from the last time we had a conversation? What are some of the biggest things that have changed for you personally?
Um, Really, just the only thing that's really changed is um, my deeper need to look at politics. I don't know if you remember both in the first episode and the second episode where I don't I don't really pay attention to politics unless it directly affects me.
Right.
Just because I have the idea of, and it really stemmed from one of the elections where, when Trump first started going after the presidency, I was uh, I was still going through military training, so I didn't really have a good idea as to who I should vote for. So I just didn't vote.
Right.
Because the way I see it is, if you don't have a good enough knowledge on something, then you shouldn't have a voice upon it.
No, right.
So the first term I didn't vote. Second term, after seeing everything that happened, I'm like, I might as well just stay out of it, just because at this point you're picking the lesser of the two evils. And then come to this third term where so that would have been the second or third one between, so it was the second one between Trump and Biden,
Yep.
where I started hearing things where, votes are getting changed, and, votes weren't making it to the ballots, or they're being elected. Like, there's so much that the world doesn't know or doesn't want to accept, the fact that things can change when we don't see it, and how powerful the government is. At that point, I was like, I'm just going to stop caring, because whether I say something or not, it's either going to get twisted, pulled, or if it's apparently the right thing, it's not going to be heard. So nothing's really changed other than the fact of we're just out here vibing, man. Whatever happens, and we're just kind of rolling with the punches and kind of getting through it. And favorite term I like to use is Semper Gumby, always flexible. So that's pretty much how we're living.
No, I get it. And what's funny is this kind of conversation almost acts as a proxy in the series of, because in my world, I'm like I'm a politico. I'm a political junkie. I have been for quite some time. And so in kind of, in our world, we kind of call people like you who try to stay away from this political swamp. We call you guys normies, right? You're more normal than us, if you will. And, it's kind of a good gauge for like how it's kind of, doesn't matter how much you don't want to care about politics. It's like, it's clear this ever encroaching, ominous feeling is getting closer and closer to every person. And kind of nowadays, it's hard to find somebody who doesn't have a political opinion on anything, just given the fact that it's become pop culture from COVID as well.
Yeah.
And so let me just start with this. This is going to be a bit of a broader one. I want to know what went through your head when Donald Trump came out and said, "Are we still talking about Epstein? Is everyone still talking about Epstein?" Because that's a story that kind of goes beyond the politics. It's like a meme almost. And I'm curious, what were your thoughts then, given what's surrounding that story and what's still kind of coming out about it?
If you want me to be honest, I didn't even know Trump said that.
Really? So that's how far moved you are.
Yeah, like
funny.
I didn't even know he said that.
Yeah, well, I have the video clip. I can pull it up here.
Yeah, let's pull it up.
Yeah, pull up the
See what
clip.
it is. Oh wow.
Okay, let's go here. This is the clip
So
here.
Okay.
And so the quote really that was blowing people away is "Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? We have Texas, we have this." And this was because it was following the fact that he was changing, all of this change of rhetoric was happening. It went from, "They're on my desk, I never had them," to, "Okay, I do have them, but we have to wait. Actually, no, we do have the Epstein list, but it's a Democrat hoax," to now, and it was just like, it's an ever-changing thing. And even as of right now, it's been walked back a bit. It's like, just nobody's talking about it. But here's this clip here, and it'll kind of blow you away. But this is his response to a journalist asking why the Trump administration is trying to basically push this under the rug. Make sure I get the volume down too, so it doesn't blow people away.
Could I just interrupt for 1 second? Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years. You're asking, we have Texas, we have this, we have all of the things. And are people still talking about this guy, this creep? That is unbelievable. Do you want to waste the time, and do you feel like answering?
I don't mind answering.
I mean, I can't believe you're asking a question on Epstein at a time like this where we're having some of the greatest success and also tragedy with.
So that's basically the main portion of the clip there, right? He kind of continues to give this excuse here. And if you look, this is right, what, July 8th, 2025?
Mm-hmm.
So this came in the midst of obviously what's going on with Iran, right? People are obviously angry about striking Iran and everything that came with that too.
Mm-hmm.
The part here that blows people away is I think that everybody knows what's up with the Epstein list, which is it's basically a dossier that's got a lot of elite people on there. Now the argument can go nuanced between who you think actually is the person collecting the names, who do you think, how far does it go? But the idea is there, and it's like it's not going away. And the way I kind of look at it is, to me, when they get people like Dan Bongino and Kash Patel and, Pam Bondi and like Matt Gaetz and basically all of like our guys, if you will, right? These were people who were in the mega camp very, very touted highly. Like people trusted them, respected them. And the way I kind of look at it was, it almost seems to me like that was an attempt to use all of their credibility to try to bear the Epstein story. And even that was unsuccessful. And so we're kind of in this weird stasis where the media or the press that's friendly to the administration won't touch it. And it's kind of now, if you bring it up, you're almost a Democrat for bringing it up. And so I'm just kind of curious, where are you at with the Epstein stuff? What do you think about that?
To me, it's old news. Whether or not people are still gonna bring it up. I mean, it is. I don't want it to seem like it's not a very big issue, because it is, but
Right.
as adults, I feel that we have bigger issues to work out rather than the Epstein, like whether or not he actually killed himself, or who's on the list. Where, in my opinion, we have some bigger things to fry rather than everything that has to do with Jeffrey Epstein, which I'm sure, looking at it outside looking in, I'm sure once we start kind of dealing with some of the bigger things, it might just trickle down to dealing with the Epstein stuff, because how you look at different things, you could look at something completely different, not related to Jeffrey Epstein, but then there might just be that one little clue that might just link everything together.
Yeah.
And I was actually watching The Gentleman last night.
Okay.
First time, the movie with Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah.
And there was a scene that really stuck with me. He was looking at two photos, one of a dead girl and one of a girl that was just assaulted. And he was just kind of like putting it together, and he was able to solve a murder case that he actually got someone sent to prison wrongfully for. And he solved it by literally stacking the papers on top of each other and just halving the female's face, and being like, I made some sort of connection.
Yeah, finding that final like red string that connects,
right,
all the photos together.
Yeah.
I guess I hear what you're saying, and I think a lot of people probably, when the media is kind of massaging like messages out like that, I can understand why you would feel that way. I guess the reason I would disagree is because I'm under the belief that this does go much further than I think anyone can really even estimate. And I think secondarily to that is I think it's more than just an element of, are they doing bad things to kids? I think it's more so, if that's there and they use that to basically control what the people we vote for to do things, then I think that becomes important, because now it's a direct challenge to the fact of, is your government even for the people, or is it basically kind of like theater, and it's basically people dancing because they don't want their sex tapes released, doing horrible things to people. And so that's where I would kind of be with that. But
and I would agree, like you'd have to think someone of that stature is going to take a lot of time to dig into, and I can only imagine how big this list is.
Right.
So not just Jeffrey himself, but then you got the guards, and then you got the prison itself, and then you got the people that he's very close with, and then you got the people that he acquaints with, and then you got the people that he does business with, and then
Right.
the circle just becomes so big that
Right.
there's not enough people to tackle this very big thing all at once very quickly. So that way the people can get the answers rather than trying to speculate, make theories, and
Yeah.
everyone can move on with your life. And that's what some people that I wouldn't say fail to realize, but that's what some people tend to forget is that it takes a lot of manpower and a lot of time
Right.
just to even investigate anything, really.
Right. And that's actually a great segue. That's a great segue to the next one. I'm gonna jump actually probably closer to the bottom of the outline here with deportations. Because that's
Hmm.
another one of these things that falls into that element there.
Hmm.
And twofold. For one, this is also another story that people are not happy with Trump about because the mass deportation rates is nowhere close to what people are expecting. And then it's very easy to multiply it by 4 and then see like it's not going to be close to the number that they would like to see. But also, secondarily, is what you had just brought up, which is the amount of manpower and resources required to facilitate this and at the same time respecting everybody's rights, not doing it
Right.
militantly, obviously,
Yeah.
and I'm somebody who's like I wouldn't even care at this point, militantly or
Hmm.
not, just get them out of here.
Right.
But I'm kind of curious though, at where you are, have you personally, been involved on a call that's like helping or assisting with ICE or done anything like of that level in communication or contribution?
No, I haven't done anything with ICE. I don't know anything about ICE and what type of operations they have going on in in or around not only where I work, where I live, but even just in America. I have zero idea, none
Word. Okay.
whatsoever.
Because I was curious if you had any idea of how much like they communicate with, you know, you like your precinct or where you're out of.
I have that is honestly above my pay grade.
Word. Okay.
I'm just a patrolman. So again, I'm fairly new, so I'm still trying to get my name out there as someone that can go out and do the nitty gritty things, but also keep it out of the public eye until it's ready to be met by the public eye, if that makes sense.
I get that. Yeah, and well, I guess my question to that would be, if there was, if well, I guess the beef that people have with the deportations is what I'd outlined earlier, which is there's not enough happening. And so I guess I'm
Mhm.
more so like if you think they were happening at the rate that people wanted, do you think you would know like if you're seeing officers being called out to assist with
Oh
calls?
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
It,
for sure. We would definitely know, just because taking it from a police officer selection process to being a federal agent, basically, the processes are a lot more strict, a lot longer, a lot more selective. So they're already down manpower with how
right.
selective they are, which very good for them. Like I would rather someone be very selective, like, okay, we're gonna get the best of the best. We're gonna get the true honest men and women. Like I would much rather that.
No.
But
Right.
but if they if and that's what really it truly breaks my heart when people want something done right now and they don't think that it takes time. I think a great example of that would be, let's take college football coaches for example. Um, Coach Day's been coaching there for what 4 or 5 years as a head guy,
Yeah, yeah. Coming up
something
on
like
6,
that.
yeah.
So they they expect we made the championship run in 14. Urban did a few more years, passed off the reins today. People expected that same type of caliber, but wasn't they weren't getting it. And so then now people are calling for his job, they're calling for his head, they're making death threats, like they're doing all these things. And it's like you have to understand like going from an offensive coordinator to a head coach is completely different. It's a whole new ball game. And
Right.
so and I see that all around the CFP where, we have coaches that have only been at places 1 2 years, they don't produce, they have maybe subpar season around 500, and then a year or two later they're canned. And it's like people don't realize that you need things to develop. You need things
Right.
to grow. You need your guys to be able to coerce with each other and get that bond, and being able to, like, okay, I know you're going to do this, so I'm going to do this on the opposite side, or you're doing this. I know you're going to go here. I'm going to go here. So that way maybe it can pull a safety or pull a corner, whatever have you.
Right.
And you're learning the new head coach's style. You're learning how he likes things done. It's all these different things that people don't realize, that you need time to allow things to grow. And once you finally feel like that you've hit that point, then you can really start hitting the planning stages of, okay, this is what we're going to do, X, Y, Z. And
Yeah.
then you can start really repping on that. So that way, when it is go time, it becomes natural. People don't realize that it actually takes time for things to become natural. Not just for it, it boils down to safety. It legitimately boils down to safety, where if I don't know how you operate, you don't know how I operate, we could do something. Next thing you know, we're both dead. And I don't know about you, but I like to go home at night.
Right. Right. I
So
get that.
that's one thing that just really, it truly breaks my heart about not just college football fans, but the American people. They want it. I understand wanting something done right now. I get that. But you have to allow things to billow and grow and to be, so that way you
to bloom.
can get the result that you want. But it's just going to take time.
It's kind of funny because you're like almost acting as a perfect proxy for somebody I'd imagine like coming out of the MAGA camp. This is perfect. And I think that's what a lot of people would say too, right? Like, wait, right? This is kind of the meme now. Trust the plan. That's where a lot of this is coming out of. So a lot of people, obviously, the left is, I don't even think they're in the conversation anymore. I would argue that it's really more so about like a lot of different factions on the right kind of just arguing on this. And somebody in the chat had put it in there too, and I think that's probably the biggest reason why there's this push here. And for myself included, I don't know how much time we can expect to afford ourselves. Maybe is a good way to put it, right? And I think if you wanted to go to like even economically, right? If you were to look, not even look at the social breakdown, but if you were looking at it economically, I think the projections are, I believe in 8 years, we're facing the possibility that both HI, which is hospital insurance, and Social Security will be insolvent. And we don't have really many plans to get these things out of place. And this will kind of connect to the EBT story as well, which is, that is another thing I would expect would spell a lot of rioting, looting, protesting, like if people didn't get their Social Security benefits. But we're about to get the dry run here in November, which I think it's November 3rd, but I did see some posts on November 1st.
Yeah, those people, they get everything on the 1st and the 15th.
1st and the 15th. Okay. So the 1st is actually the day to like really probably be afraid of.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate. And I don't know how many of these videos you've seen, but there's
I've
so
seen
many
enough.
of them.
I've seen enough. And you and I come from working families. Like,
Right.
our dads have worked very hard to provide, and we come from the working class families, and it's, to some people I do have sympathy, and I want that to be known. There are some people out there that they legitimately do need the EBT. They legitimately do need the Social Security. Like, they actually need that because they can't work, they're disabled, what have you. Like, there are legitimate reasons why these people need this type of help. It's the other ones, it's the other group of people that specifically choose not to,
Right.
rely solely on that. And it blows my mind that people will put so much time and effort into planning a riot, planning,
Right.
what to wear, all these things, but yet you can't put that time and effort to go get a job at Walmart, or to go get a job at McDonald's, or,
Right.
Something that is so simple, truthfully, so simple. You don't have to go get a complex job. You don't have to go to school. Something that is so simple and that can still pay your bills. Because if you're on EBT, you're on Social Security, you're not living high life. You're not living where a middle class family would live. Unfortunately, you're living in the lower class. You're living in the worser part of towns where the crime rate's high. you're living in those areas, so I know that whatever paycheck that you do get will be able to cover the things that you need.
Yeah, and I while you were talking, I got a chat in here, and I'll double check in a minute, but we'll take it for the argument's sake. It says Trump claimed that they will pay the food stamps, and that's good if if they will find the money,
Mhm,
and that's a good thing because it will avoid the conflict. But I
mhm.
think the idea there though is the fact that like, well, what happens if we decided we didn't want to pay them, right? What if we want to decrease the welfare state, right? This idea that there's a clear and obvious threat like that will invoke civil unrest, and
Mhm.
not even just like civil unrest in terms of like kind of like emotionally angry at something that happened, like the Roe v. Wade kind of knockdown. This is like, I mean, people are verbatim basically admitting to crimes before they happen, right? Like
Yeah.
saying they will do certain things to certain people.
Mhm.
And I do fear that we we're basically kind of in it. We're locked, and I, it's unfortunate because these are the things that we know need to be whittled away. And like House had just put in the chat there too, like I think it's like 59% of who is even on welfare entitlements are illegal aliens. And so
Mhm.
you have a massive portion of them going to people who like aren't even citizens of the nation. But we
Right.
do need to start chipping away at these things. And I think of that too, like Social Security as well.
Mhm.
Somebody our age, like me and you, I'll be like, well, it sucks. Like I paid into it already, but I know I'm not going to get it. So like it would be nice if I could stop paying into it.
Right.
Whereas the people who are, 58, 59, getting ready to
Mhm.
retire are like, I just paid in my whole life into it. There's no way you're
Yeah.
not going to give me my Social Security benefits. So
Right.
now you get this balkanization among all these different factions, even amongst the same in-group people. It's just difference of age, and so
Mhm.
I fear what will come if there is any kind of economic crisis like that. I think we basically everybody kind of told on themselves, like we know what to
Yeah.
expect.
And you made a really good point that, there are foreigners that they do come in and they do get a stipend. They get, I don't know how long it is, but at least from what I've seen, when you come in and you do it the right way, the legal way,
Right,
you get a monthly stipend for, you basically get an EBT card to help kind of get you on your feet, and then after however many years, they're like, okay, it's done. You should be on your feet by now. So there are some people that it is, like I said, it's going to some of the right people, but like you also said, some of the illegals, they somehow, some way get get onto it,
right.
um,
Well,
and it's
this is kind of the so where I'm coming from is I find this to be intentional. I find this to be largely intentional, and for a couple of different reasons. We don't have to go into like the intent behind it. The idea though is, I mean, the reality is still that exactly what you had said. And there was a video, I believe, from Crowdsource the Truth that went very viral, and that was from New York. And
mm,
what they were talking about was these ladies basically being given $3,000 a month on, I believe, a prepaid Visa card.
mhm,
They're they've been in the country for, I believe that they were saying like a year and some, still couldn't speak a lick of English, like no assimilation had been tried, and they had been getting payments all the way through that period. And so you even like compare that to like veteran payments, right? Stuff that's coming out of the VA or people,
mhm,
disabled people, like they're not getting close to anything like that.
right,
And that obviously, I think, whether people like it or not, you have to acknowledge that doing something like that will generate like animosity, right? It'll
mhm,
generate animosity to people. And it's a very easy one, right? Like foreigners, legal aliens, someone who's speaking Spanish, it's like immediately you can assign that they probably shouldn't be in this country.
mhm.
And that's kind of the next step here, which is the civil unrest. And so I'm kind of curious, have you on the job so far, have you seen anything that's like maybe you felt was related to, political kind of unrest, or like, people getting angry about, IRL things that relate to politics?
I haven't I haven't seen anything yet. um, the way I'm kind of preparing myself is we're gonna get the riots from 2020 2.0. That's kind of where my mind is going. Uh, you know, just
It's scary.
pure chaos, and it is because they're so there's so much on the streets that it's like, how do you even acquire something like this?
Right.
And that's going to get brought out, and then it's just going to billow into very bigger things where like you have, you'll have a discount dollar store that gets completely gutted, and then now other people have to go to the other side of the city where maybe there might be some rivalries going on there. So now on top of the looting and the rioting, now you have the potential for gang wars, and it's just a big snowball effect that's just going to get very, very big.
Right.
And it's I don't it is a scary thought, but I think a lot of us have uh, I think a lot of us have learned from the 2020 riots moving forward, which I think is good.
See,
Um,
I think I'm on the other
but
side of that. I don't think we have learned.
from my side of the yard,
Okay.
maybe not as much as the civilian side of the yard, but at least from my side of the yard, we learn from events.
Word. Okay.
Unfortunately, it is a very reactive job. Being a first responder, you're very reactive.
Right.
You can be as proactive as you can, but until you've been in that situation where you've never been in that, now you have to be reactive.
Right.
So going into the riots of 2020, yeah, we had our proactive stuff where we kind of knew what to do, but then if you take it to a bigger scale, all right, what do we do now? So now going into these possible riots that may be happening, we're going to take that, and now we're going to be reactive to this, and now that's our new standard, that's our new bar, if
Yeah.
that makes sense.
No, that does make sense. I guess I was meaning it in the terms of like we haven't learned anything like from the last time. Like,
Yeah, no, we haven't.
and I say that because I feel like it's worse, right? And I think
Mhm.
so that Charlie Kirk being assassinated is evidence of that,
Mhm.
and I guess the bigger question is, what what's the off ramp? What makes it stop, right? And I think most people kind of keep getting this ominous feeling, especially on the Christian side of things as well. People
Mhm.
who have a lot more of it, they just see the end times coming, and so that's kind of
Mhm.
been harmful too, because a lot of the people in the Christian camp basically have just they kind of given up. They kind of have walked away. Essentially, they're like,
Yeah.
there's no point in getting involved. The end times are very close. Like just believe in the Lord, and there's some level of truth to just kind of walking away. But at the end of the day, it's like we don't know the day nor the hour.
Mhm.
And so a lot of that just ultimately culminates in a lot of, families and conservatives otherwise just being left to rot or left to dry
Mhm.
because they're the ones kind of fighting.
Right.
And on those ends, though, that's why I fear that what we won't get this summer of love, right? That's what it's being called. And like in 2020, we're going to
Mhm.
get like something that's a lot worse. I don't know what maybe that will hinge upon, what kind of will be the catalyst for it.
Mhm.
Maybe it would have been the EBT thing. I'm hoping that doesn't happen. I mean, I'm even fearful
Yeah.
for myself. Like, I was planning on buying the groceries this week if that was a thing, because I'm like, I'm not going to
Mhm.
have my wife going to the town. And funny
Right.
enough, there was a viral tweet that had said that. A tweet like went
Yeah.
viral that was like, it's going to be a man's job,
Mhm.
to go grocery shopping. And I guess then, where does you think that like that puts you though? Because ultimately, if that does happen, you're going to be one of the guys that's going to have to be called out to have to handle
Mhm.
calls and such. And so I'm kind of curious, have you guys been getting any kind of like, especially in the light of the EBT thing, did you guys
Mhm.
get any kind of pre-warning at all of like what to expect, or there's things maybe coming down the line?
No, honestly, but I I've also been off for 2 days, so I don't know if there's been something new pushed down the pipeline, but a lot of us a lot of us know what's going on, whether it be in depth or like myself, very little. And you hit the nail really, really good on the head, where I found myself like, this is it. You know, I hear and I see a lot more of the people that, you know, don't want to sit there and have an adult conversation with you about politics. They just
Right.
want to yell and scream until they think that they are heard, and then they think that they are right. And it's those type of people that I hear most, and it's the people that are, lack of a better term, prepared for whatever is to come.
Right.
And that's kind of where I'm at, if you want to be honest. It's, you can get briefed on as much as you want, and there's still going to be something that you were not briefed on, or there's still going to be something where no one thought of this and now this is happening. And it's, let's take we'll take the Osama bin Laden assassin, or not the assassination, but that operation.
Right.
They had
66.
planned for everything,
Right.
everything, except for the one thing of the bird landing in the yard. They didn't plan for that.
Right.
They didn't like.
Right.
So you have the best of the best in the world, day in and day out, memorizing his house, memorizing his everything, and there's still something that went wrong that they weren't trained for.
Right. Is it
So,
Zero Dark 30? Is that the movie I'm thinking of that kind of makes it
um,
Hollywood-esque?
I think so. Let me double
It's
check.
been a minute. I can look up too. But I remember seeing that scene where they have all the guys, right? That's all the thermal signatures, or like they're literally seconds away from getting ready to execute. And then you see
Yeah.
the one heat signature like come in and like land in the yard, and it catches everybody's attention, and it throws it
Mhm.
just throws everything off in that one split second.
Yep.
I don't know if it is
I
Zero
don't-
Dark 30. What movie is that?
No,
that
it's
I'm thinking of?
not.
No.
Oh,
We need to figure this out. Let me
that's gonna bug me now.
yeah, we're gonna figure this
Yeah.
out. Osama bin Laden movie. It says Zero Dark 30, but I don't think that's it.
Really? Oh yeah, yeah.
Is
yeah,
it it?
yeah.
Okay.
That's it.
Yeah, okay. 'Cause
Yeah,
it's
I
like
just
the
saw
end
like the
scene.
poster for it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, with Osama bin Laden.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, Zero Dark 30.
Because I'm not even gonna lie to you. I thought the beginning of the movie, that movie was good.
Mhm.
I basically fell asleep for the whole middle of it. And then at the end, when it shows the operation starting, it's like, oh, okay, this is good. Because it's like a 40-minute scene of like them,
Yeah.
getting ready to pull off that operation. It's really good.
Mhm.
But I mean, you are right in that element, right? Of like this preparation, and it doesn't matter even how much you prepare. It's like something even crazier can happen. And I think that's
Mhm.
the best thing to use for there would be like a nuke, right? It
Mhm.
doesn't matter how much food you have downstairs. It's like, dude, if a nuke goes off, it's like you're gonna be lucky if the
Yeah.
water's not radioactive. Bro. It's like we're just
Right.
praying at that point we'll be okay.
Yeah.
And I guess
So it's
go ahead.
I don't know, man. It's just like we haven't gotten anything, but we are aware, and whether or not departments prepare their guys are going to be prepared, and that I feel comes from a little bit of a trust. Have the top people having that little bit of a trust in your guys of, okay, we might not be able to push it out, or kind of assuming that these guys are somewhat at least knowledgeable about what's going on, from my level of knowledge all the way down to your level of knowledge. Like, it's, people know,
Right.
but we also
I'm retarded, dude. So.
Dude, like there's sometimes where I'm like, damn, where's my disability check coming from?
I know, dude.
Like,
I know. I thought that the other
it's
day when I
just-
was parking, I literally parked sideways. I'm like, bro, I needed that spot.
It's like,
over
this
there.
ain't gonna work.
Yeah.
Ah, shit.
I'll just leave it. I'll
But
be
it's-
quick enough.
It's just, I don't know, man. I'm so hands off from everything that I'm ready for it. If something happens, something happens. But that's also why I put myself and my family in areas where I know that we're gonna see it coming before it actually happens. Like,
Yeah.
I don't live where I work for multiple safety reasons,
Right.
but the area that I live in, it's fairly nice. It's fairly blue collar, actually very blue collar, surrounded by farmlands. So it's,
Is that a normal
know-
practice, by the way, to like live in a separate area that you work in as a cop?
it's kind of a personal preference. Like, I know a lot of guys live in the same city that we work, So, but then I also know like there's guys like me that live a fair amount of distance away. So it's really just a personal preference. Most agencies will have you live, have you live within at least an adjoining county around the county that you work in. So, um, like if you work for Columbus Police Department,
Yeah.
you either have to live in Franklin County or a surrounding county in order to have.
Okay. Well, you'd have a lot of options then with Columbus. Then there's like a bunch of counties
Yeah.
that border Franklin.
Yeah. So
Um.
most departments are like that, where if
Oh, did I lose him? I lost him. Guys, I lost him. He disappeared on my back end too. I hope his like computer or laptop didn't die. Well, I'm gonna pay attention to the my phone. We'll see. Yeah, yeah, he's a cop. He's been on the force for, I believe he said a couple of days now. I was gonna ask him next, actually, how many days he's been on the force so far. He's started as like a working with EMS, like a first responder. I actually had a conversation with like a year and a half ago. It was the first time I talked. I actually knew him. I grew up in the same town as him. We're like hometown. Grew up in the same hometown together. I'm gonna check. He might be figuring it out. But yeah, no, we're just basically kind of we're coming back with the series here. I'm gonna make sure he's okay. Sorry, guys. Hopefully, he didn't like lose power or something too. We were having a great conversation. But to recap for a lot of people who might not be familiar, yeah, his name is yeah, his name is River. We call him Rooster. He goes by a bunch of different names. Has since I've known him. He's a great guy, blue collar. Just like he had said, my fathers like knew each other. We came from very similar backgrounds, and we were trying to do what was the word? He says, "Okay, no idea what is happening." We were trying to do a basically get like a bit more kind of a back and forth, because maybe I don't know if I've ever covered any story recently that you guys know this, but I'm like very adamantly like against cops. I have been for quite some time. Not that I'm against them like individually, personally, every single one, but just against them in terms of just the policing system, if you will, and just the broken nature of it. And I mean, if anybody was here when we covered the video yesterday, I think that's very openly and obvious to everybody. What kind of how you can basically be utilized as a cop. You are basically at the behest of powerful people in your area. When they call 911, they better expect you to jump for the call. Your boss will tell you that same thing too. But let me send a message back to him. I think he's back. Is he back? Yes, he is. He is back. Let me do this. Oh, you're good, brother. It's this camera, actually. Let me reset that back up. Where are you? Sorry, they can't hear you yet, I don't think. I can hear you. I think the audience can. Is it this one? There we go. Perfect. There you are. You're back.
Cool. Hello. No idea what
Perfect.
happened.
No, all good. All good. We have technical issues all the time. But to kick back up the argument, we weren't arguing. To kick back up the discussion, what I wanted to know, so I'll just give everybody like a recap of the last couple of episodes. I'm curious to know, how long now have you been on the force? Is it a couple of days?
That I've been a police officer?
Yeah.
Officially, I've been a police officer for just over a year.
Just over a year. And then the solo stuff, you being
solo, I've been by myself on the road since February.
It's February. Okay, so it's a lot longer
of this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's just start it off hot again. One, the worst thing. Well, you don't have to go into great detail, but what's some of the worst experience you've had? And two, have you had any experience that made you go like, I don't even want to do this anymore?
I haven't had an experience where I told myself I didn't want to do this anymore. Solely because when you get into first responding, no matter what it is, whether it be corrections, military, police, fire, EMS, I feel strongly that you have to go into it knowing anything can happen. If you, and there's nothing against anyone that, experience does have that experience where, yeah, I don't want to do this anymore, and they ended up letting it go. That's much more respectable. I would much rather you do that than trying to push through and being like, no, I love doing this, but but I haven't had one of those experiences. I love what I do. It's the best job I've had, probably, to be honest with you. It's so much fun.
Word. Okay.
Probably the sketchiest moment thus far was we had a call for a suicidal male, and when we got there, he was kind of holding his. He wasn't necessarily holding his mom hostage, but he also wasn't letting her go at the same time, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And his mom was holding his child as well. And so I was actually typing up a report when the call came out. And so when I get on scene, right as I'm about to pull up in front of the house, one of the other officers has said, "Hey, we need someone on the backside." So I go about 1 block up, and I didn't get a good color of the house. I didn't look at the house too good. So that way when I got on the backside, I could just look like, oh yeah, that's the house. So I take a second and I pull up my Google Maps. And I'm like, oh, okay, there it is. And so I was able to kind of maneuver to where I could see his backyard, the back of the house, but I couldn't see the officers out in front of the house. Obviously we have radio, so I was still able to talk to him. And I wear an earpiece so that way I can still hear them and not have someone barking out of my chest.
Word.
So this dude, he's standing there. I flashed my flashlight, and in the comments right before we got there, he was demanding that we didn't have guns drawn. But he had multiple weapons with him. And so the guys up front had their weapons drawn. I knew that there was the house in between myself and my other officers. So there was crossfire without crossfire if something were to happen.
Right.
I knew I had that barricade. And then I was standing behind the house as well. So there was a house, open space, house, me. And so I flash my flashlight and I see them kind of dart off to the right. And I was calling out to them. And I remember I rated over I was like, hey, I have eyes, gave a description of the male. And so I rated over, I was like, hey, I have eyes. Do you want me to start with commands? And they said, go ahead and go for it. And so I kind of, in the moment, I thought I did what was best. And looking back on it, it was actually probably the most unsafest thing that I did, where we know this guy's armed. And I kind of took a step out from behind cover to really show myself like, hey, it served two purposes. One, to show him that I didn't have my gun drawn. And two, that I was just there to just specifically talk to him. And so...
Your heart's got to be racing, dude, doing this.
Oh, it is freaking going. It was like, I could feel, I was nervous. I was scared. But trying to control all of that and to sound calm. I have my flashlight out. I'm shining on him. I introduce myself and I show him my hands like, hey, I don't even have my taser out. And so then I was like, all right, man, what I need you to do is I need you to clear your handgun. And so he just straight up locks the slide back, messes with it, pulls the magazine out and like slides the slide back all up in the air. And I'm like, oh my God. Yeah. I was like, oh my goodness. I was like, all right, cool. But he's like doing it before I could even get the words out. Like before I can really, so I'm trying to process
what
he's
step?
doing.
Yeah.
Like I know what the next step is. I'm trying to process what he's doing.
Yeah.
So like I'm trying to make sure he doesn't slip the magazine back in as he's rocking the slide back. I'm making sure that it's actually clean, because there's a different sound between when you send a slide home and the chamber is empty, and when you send the slide home and there's a round in the chamber.
Right.
And so I'm like really trying to tune into that sound. I'm making sure that the handgun is clear. I was like, all right, cool, go and put it on the ground. I was like, all right, I need you to do the same thing for the rifle. And he does the exact same thing, throws that thing up, pulls the charging handle back. He's like, all right, it's clear. And I was like, all right, I need you to make it condition 4. And I mean, this dude had armor on too. So my first thought is, okay, this guy maybe has some military background. So I'm like, okay, man, hey, condition 4 for him. He's like, what's that? And I'm like, no magazine inserted, no round in chamber, weapons not safe. He's like, all right, I can do that. He's like lifting it up. He takes out the magazine and he slides the charging handle back and he throws it on the ground. I'm like,
Was he
oh
doing that
my
so you
god!
could see it? Why was he doing
Yeah.
it like up in the air? Okay.
I think he was doing it so I could see it, because I have this whole entire time my flashlight is not moving off of him. Like I don't care what anybody else is doing. I'm not moving it off this guy. And so he cleared himself of weapons, and I was like, hey man, I need to approach you. I have a job to do. And I'm very blunt and honest with everybody. But I'm like, hey man, I have a job to do. Before we move forward, I have to come make sure that you do not have any weapons on you. I know you probably don't want me touching you right now, but can I at least visually inspect you? He's like, yes, you can. I was like, all right, this is a moment of trust between two random people this is their first interaction ever. And I told him, I was like, I have a daughter. I want to go back home to. And he was like, I want you to go back home to her. And it was at that moment that I'm like, no, I'm actually doing this job. Like that was some Hollywood shit to be
It
said.
sounded like
And
it.
like it was
good.
very Hollywood. And so he allowed me to approach him, and without touching him, I made him, lift up his shirt, spin around. I looked for any possible pocket clips for knives or anything like that. He didn't have anything on him.
Yeah.
I made him kind of open up his flak that he had on, and I just sat there, started talking to him. And I had another officer standing behind me, and the guy noticed him. He's like, he's with me. He's here to make sure that I'm safe. Because it was one of those things where the officer behind me, he knew that I was going out there, throwing myself out there.
Right.
Very, very clean. So his job was my security, basically, to make sure that I was safe and that this guy didn't do anything that I maybe might have missed,
Right.
just in case.
So had nobody communicated to him prior to you getting there?
To be honest with you, I don't remember.
Okay.
I don't remember what was being said over dispatch. I don't remember reading the comments. I just remember seeing homicidal male is armed, and that's really the two things that I remember seeing in the comments of the call. Because going into that, it's a very surreal situation.
Right. Because I'm just kind of imagining, like, if they had weapons drawn and like they had engaged him from the front, but he was obviously like hostile then. Maybe it was the fact that you just showed yourself up and he.
And so they didn't have eyes on him in the back and the front. They didn't have eyes on this guy on the front at all. And so I was legitimately the first person to lay eyes on him, shine my flashlight, and I remember throwing over the radio, oh, they just went to the garage, gave the description of the male, and then from there just kind of working it. Ended up being able to walk up and talk to him. And so eventually I talked him down a lot, got him into cuffs, and got him into the back of the medic to go get a mental health eval. And there were some other charges that we ended up throwing out there just because of some of the other evidence that we found.
What is that, right? Felony kidnapping?
I don't remember. I know he got receiving stolen property because the rifle was found to be stolen, or at least reported stolen.
Jeez.
So I know there was at least that. I think one count of strangulation. I honestly didn't even get the full, I honestly don't even know the full story behind it.
Yeah. Just
Like
like a
I
piece of the puzzle there being one of the
yeah,
officers
like
right in there.
my from when I got there until I got to the hospital, it was just not necessarily this trance, but it was just like, okay, I need to go home and my friends and my coworkers need to go home. And that's all I cared about was
Yeah.
making sure this dude was not armed, making sure that I was able to talk to this dude. And then there was a split second where I was beyond vulnerable, where I was hopping over a fence to go handcuff him. That if he wanted to, at the drop of a hat, he could have done whatever he wanted,
Right.
and I would have been at the disadvantage just for myself. But again, like I said, I had another officer behind me. Um, but that night, honestly, I don't have very many stories that I bring home that have messed with my mental. I think that's maybe this only the second story in my career, both from EMS and police, where afterwards I was like, yeah, I got to take a couple of days off work because this, like,
Yeah.
I gotta. And I think it was like my Monday. I think it was my Friday. So I think it was on a Monday night. It was a Thursday, Monday, or Sunday, Monday night. And so the next day, when I knew that I was still kind of like, holy cow, was when my child's mom went that next morning, came to drop off my daughter, and she was like, "Why aren't you smiling?" And I'm like, "I had a very long night at work." And
Yeah.
normally I greet my daughter with a big smile, "Hey, how you doing?" But I was just still very, very stone faced.
Right.
So that one, I've seen a lot. That one's stuck with me. It still kind of does because it's just like
Because of the what
I could
ifs. You think that's
the what
why?
ifs. Yeah, the what ifs.
Because it went well and he's
1000%.
still having like bringing
Yeah,
home the psychosis with you. And
yeah,
I would imagine, yeah, just thinking like if it would have went poorly, like
hmm
what would have actually happened to me.
yeah,
And there is another kind of element in this too, which is it's seeming like the mental health is at an all-time low, right? Like the average person seemingly is like, I say this all the time, and maybe people disagree with me, but I find it, especially from compared to like growing up, even people that I grew up with, it feels like when I am just engaging socially with people in general, it
hmm
feels like the average person is a lot closer to like a psychotic breakdown
oh yeah,
than like they were like 10, 15 years ago. And so,
1000%.
I
Yeah.
think a lot of things play into that, but it's sad and partially also enables this element too. The second question I had for you, which I was gonna make it into a joke, but well, I was like, yeah, have you how many unarmed black men have you have you shot so far?
It's it is it
A
is a
couple.
running joke. It is a running joke. Um, but nowadays, like I just treat everyone as if they have a gun hidden somewhere.
Yeah,
And my friends joke about it all the time. And I saw this video on TikTok. Those AI generated videos where it's
yeah,
like something completely asinine that
yeah.
would never actually happen. It was this officer where he's on this side of the road and it's like super snowy and he's got his gun drawn at ice and he's like, "Put the gun down, sir. Stop being black ice." And then he just unloads on it. I'm like,
That's
doing
good.
that.
That's good. Dude,
I
AI
was
is
like,
it's been getting crazy, man.
it's they're getting the jokes are there, and it's something that I try to use as a coping mechanism. And it really works.
I'm
It's
sure.
but on the serious side of it, none. I just
None.
the
The
just
official answer.
yeah, the official answer is none. But like just when was that? It was a couple weeks ago. We actually got into a foot pursuit, and I had to draw down on someone just because of the events that happened earlier in the day, where he was involved in sh- he was somehow, some way involved in a shootout, and he was with the person that was doing the shooting. He didn't do the shooting himself, but treat them both as treat them both as armed, and we got into a vehicle pursuit. lost the vehicle, and then the guy that was driving was actually walking down the alley. We found him, went on a foot pursuit with him, and I had him down at gunpoint. That was like my first true from A to B,
Yeah.
have someone at gunpoint type of thing. But in those, and this has been one of the things where we've talked about before, where you know, you do have a split second. You do legitimately have just a split second to make sure that this guy isn't going to reach for something because you just got done running. You're trying to put information out on the radio. You're trying to remember where you're at. So that way, because I had beaten the 3 other guys that I was with.
Yeah.
And we went down an alley and he just banked it through some yards. He gave up, but so like watching my body cam footage, I told him to stop, gave him commands to get down on the ground, and then there's just silence from me. And I'm like, okay, that's not good because I need to be putting out information like, oh, we're this far down the alley. We're right about here. Luckily, one of my partners was running down the street and he saw us. He's like, oh, right here. And then that kind of kicked me back out of it. Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
And get back to work. But
that was gonna be my next question, was like, have you been in that moment, right? Have you pulled the gun? Sounds like you've only drawn so far. It doesn't seem like you've actually had to squeeze the trigger.
Nope, I haven't had that incident, thank God.
And that's good, right?
That's one I will do. Pretty much I want to do everything that there is that policing has to offer except that.
Right.
That and you can probably speak to 100 different officers and get the same response, because no one wants to live with that. No one wants that type of thing or that type of attention on them. I don't know if you heard, but Findlay just had their second officer involved shooting within a year's time frame.
No, I didn't hear about that.
Yeah, I in my opinion, I think it was a suicide by cop attempt, to be honest with you.
So they got aggressive then.
No. If you want, you can pull it up. They've already got an article about it.
Yeah, let me find this.
So apparently this guy had called 911 and then went out the same about shooting
5 days ago.
Yep, that's the one.
Officer shooting a 90-year-old thought to be suicide by cop, and the police says.
So yeah, play the video. Play
video?
the video. Yeah, play the video. That'll explain everything.
Video out of Findlay, police explaining what happened Wednesday when officers fired fatal shots at a 90-year-old man with a gun.
They believe there is more to the incident. A warning: this story and video may be difficult for some. 13 Action News reporter Lily Lowndes has a story.
Findlay's police chief says his officers had to make a split-second decision when confronted by someone who appeared to have a deadly weapon. Now their investigation leads them to believe this was suicide by cop. 4 Findlay police officers went to Cherry Lane Wednesday for call of a shooting. The investigation taking 2 of them to this home when a man cracks open the door, pointing what appears to be a handgun through the door frame. The 2 officers at the door fire 7 shots, striking 90-year-old Robert Norton. He later died at the hospital.
I've reached out to the family members.
Yeah, that's that split second you're talking about right there, dude.
Yeah. Like, so do you think just based off that one frame, do you think that's a real gun?
I can't tell, dude. I'm trying to even get this better to that.
Appears to be
Let me zoom in a little bit.
Through the door frame.
There could be a clipboard, dude. It could be
like,
like what could that be?
So later on in the interview, it turned out to be a BB gun that really resembles a Beretta.
A BB handgun. That's the first thing he wanted to stick to that door.
Yes.
You know, I don't even think anybody can be mad about that, right? Like,
and that's, I don't know how much more, like, that's the body cam footage. That's the body that.
Oh, did I lose him again? Oh, that's unfortunate. I did lose him again. I mean, to me, that's, I don't know what you would do there. I'm kind of curious though. I want to know, what was he called in for? Yeah, world champion. That's what I'm asking, wondering. Oh. Dispatchers received a call saying there had been a shooting at a home on Sherry Lane in Findlay around 1:45. The police chief believes the caller was Norton. Says once officers arrived on scene, dispatchers tried to contact the 911 caller again, but there was no response. As officers approached the front of the home, they were met with a BB gun pointed out the front door. That's when 2 of the 4 responding officers began firing their guns, striking Norton. Oh, we got him back. Got him back. Here we go. Where's the guest cam? All right, he is back. All right, you with
I don't
us?
know how much more, like, yeah, I'm with you.
Okay, word.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Cool.
Yeah, but go ahead. What were you
So,
saying?
I don't know how much more like that. I
Well, especially because, and I read it into it as well, it's like they're responding to a shooting. Like the
Right.
call they got in was for a shooting. And so
right.
that much I'd be like, I would be on my A game as well too. Because like what's the alternative to this, right? Like you guys don't show up, you don't answer the call, and then what, the shooting continues?
Right.
Right. It's like,
Or
you know,
we show up and some officers are scared that they're like they don't want to pull the gun, so now they're bringing a taser to a gunfight,
right.
and taser's not going to go through glass, and good luck getting taser barbs to go through what 3-4 inches of air before he fires off a potential round. Like it's
And did he end up firing too? Did he end up firing at all at the officers?
I
Oh my
haven't
God.
heard, and I don't think so, but he ended up. I think this is the video where they show a picture of the BB gun.
Yeah, let's go. We'll watch the rest of it.
It might. There was 2 of them that Chief Matthias did.
Oh, you can. So the other guy had a better angle too as he was walking there.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, you can see it. Look how quick he reacts to that too.
Yeah, like it's
hand on gun,
Told Robert North
out, walking away, already sidestepping. That's crazy.
at the hospital.
yeah.
I've reached out to the family members of the deceased to extend my condolences on behalf of the department for their loss of the life, and they offered us great support in return for the officers affected by this critical incident.
Findlay Police Chief James Matthias said police found no evidence of a shooting and did not find anyone else in the home.
The black handgun next to the male inside the front door that was recovered was a Daisy Phantom BB gun that resembles a Beretta PX4 real handgun.
The 90-year-old man did not.
So pause it right there.
Crazy. It sounds like he called it in himself to get
Mhm.
cops to come to his door,
Mm-hmm.
and he was going to shoot him with a BB gun.
So Like-
What?
like and calls like this happen all the time, dude, where there will be just kids playing around with like Orby guns or BB guns or airsoft. And back in high school when airsoft was a big thing, and I get it, I did airsoft myself. I played with similar type guns, but nowadays they're taking it beyond just the neighborhood. They're taking it to the school and playing with them at the school. And just the other day I had to go out with some kids where kids were getting shot with Orbeez. To the person that doesn't know what's going on, just a random person, they see a kid point something like that on the left at someone else, they're going to call that in, and then they're going to see the kid cower down. Now that's a priority 1 call. Now you have 8, 9, 10, 11-year-olds surrounded with people that are a lot bigger than them. There's lights, there's sirens, there's all this stuff going on. They don't know what to do. And it's that is the worst position. Like that is, I don't want that. I don't want to be in that position ever. Am I trained for it? Yes. Do I want
Right.
to be in that position? No. truthfully.
And and one thing this is the one thing I actually agree a lot with on that end is like the calculation of the officer is like what, like their family and children like don't matter as much as the person that they're engaging with. And that's what I think I have the biggest problem with is like the idea that like cops are just supposed to absolutely stand down entirely. No matter what you're doing is like, because then it's like you have to have a healthy idea of like, well, then how can you ever police then? Right. What is
Right.
the healthy idea of policing if these guys can't have authority? I think the issue though that people have is they know they get a lot of authority and there's always like all of these, they don't get as much justice. And that's the part I would agree on that end too.
Mm.
It's like when the mistakes are made, but it's a rough job to have because you do have to make these split second decisions that otherwise like are entirely life changing. But
Right.
again, like, what's the alternative? We don't have cops. Like,
Right.
the people want to like that society is like obviously a lot like so much worse, right? It becomes warlord city. It's just whoever has
Yeah.
the most guns, whoever's got the most
Mhm.
drugs, whatever that is. And so
And
there's
my
no good
biggest thing
solution to
is
it.
when people are like, "Oh, we need to defund the police." Like, okay, then who's the first person that you call?
Right, exactly. Right. Well, then people want to play like the tough guy thing, and then they say like, well, I think I lost him again. Then people want to play like the tough guy thing, and they're like, oh, well I'll get it handled. And it's like, yeah, I don't really think risking your family's life like that is going to be all the while worth it. We coming back in here. Disconnected again. He must have a poor connection. That's unfortunate. He's coming back. There we go. I think just connection is weak. I think that's why.
It is. I would probably assume so.
You
I got
can't
that
go here.
grade A
Oh, there we go.
internet.
We'll say that again.
But when people are like, "Oh, what we need to defund the police," is the first person to show up 80% of the time.
Yeah. Right. And it's just I don't know how you even like how do you correct for it, right? Like in your eyes, like how do you correct for this without
Training.
one harming more cops, I guess.
Training, really. I've been blessed that I've had some of the best, if not the best, trainers that the state and the department has to offer. They make sure that you think first before you do anything, but they also instill your training to fall back on just in case something happens so fast. Given the information that your brain processes, you fall back on that, and they
Yeah.
really drill it.
Well, here's a
Then
follow up
you
to that
you
too.
you made a
Oh, go ahead.
you
my
made a
bad.
mention to how quick the officer drew his gun.
Right.
We like every day before work, I practice my quick draws just in case. One, so that way I'm not rusty. I'm not
Right.
just pulling my gun out, press checking it, making sure my bullets are good. No, I'm actually pulling it out with speed, game time speed, sighting in. So that way, if something like this does happen where, I'm on a traffic stop or I'm approaching a house, my reflexes are good to where I'm able to use that use of force, but not use it to its full potential. And I'm quicker about it.
Word. I get that. Well, this is going to be my follow up. With all that being said, does that change your opinion of should women be cops? Knowing how important that split second is, has that changed? Going through it physically?
No, no, honestly, women offer a different set of eyes on things because as men, we're just told to, kind of deal with it, man up about it, whatever persona the world has put on men. Women offer a secondary look on it, and men naturally will not necessarily submit, but they're a lot less aggressive, and there's a lot less of that alpha mentality of, oh, this guy thinks he's better than me because he's wearing a badge. Well, I'm better than him because I got all this street rep. Like, there's none of that really going on. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I get that. I guess I still fervently, disagree, but that's fine. I would
and a lot of
assume that, being in person, physically experiencing it, maybe you would be a bit more reactionary to it, like realizing that just simply on the fact of like, obviously, I think the most important thing that probably matters on the police force is reaction time and knowing that men have well, on a general trend, more often than not, generally always have faster reaction time than women. And I guess here's maybe a better question. Would you rather have, say that we're playing that same exact situation out again, right? And you have this guy who's providing backup for you. He's gotten the flashlight on you. Who would you have rather have as the shooter backup? Would you rather have your male partner or your female partner?
I'd rather have my partner. Doesn't matter who it is. Doesn't matter who it is.
Okay.
'Cause
Interesting.
I have to put that trust, and I do put that trust in my coworkers, male or female, that they're going to make sure that I go home.
Word. Hey, thank
So
you
I
much
don't
for the membership. I appreciate that, bro.
I don't care. I don't care if you're male. I don't care if you're female. And I've said this once before. I don't care if you're male, female, transgender. I truly don't care. How you want to live your life, live your life. I truly don't care. But if you're going to get in this line of work, I'm going to have your back no matter what. I could not like you. I could not like how you do things. I could not like how you talk to people. I could not like any of that. But if we get into a situation, something like this, all of that goes out the window. You're going to go home, because no matter how much you think that people don't like you, or how much you think that people would rather see you dead, I don't want to go to another cop funeral. Those are not fun. Those are the absolute worst. I don't care who you are. No one deserves to go through something like that. So I'm going to make sure, because that is part of my job, is I'm going to make sure that you go home. And I know and trust that my coworkers think the exact same thing for me. So I don't care if there's a female back there. I don't care if there's a male back there. Just as long as it's one of my people back there, I know I'm safe. I can feel safe moving forward.
Word. And I do appreciate the comment, Pistols. I appreciate that. Thank you. No, I guess you maybe you are a lot more liberal than what I had initially thought, but I guess I disagree. Just I guess maybe objectively, I think on all of those things. I agree in the sentiment though. Everything you had said, right? Obviously, not wanting to attend more funerals. Obviously, life is valuable. We don't want harm. We don't want more violence. I guess I more so see that in a different lens from the back of like one of these recent stories of, right? I think we covered that almost a year ago when it happened, but the squirrel, right? The nuts falling on the hood of the car, like the cop doing, cartwheels and belly rolls, firing at random houses. Like that was like, what are we doing here? And then additionally though, I mean, there's been a string of stories of like female cops, like thinking they're grabbing their taser. And then they're just like, they're killing these people on the job over like very minimal things. And that's the kind of stuff where it's obviously a very bad situation. But I do think though, if something like that happens, not automatically, well, I think this should be already in place, but I think those are the cases where it's like that woman needs to go to prison for a long time. Because otherwise it continues like that burden of cops can just get away with whatever. Right. And I think whether you want to escalate that too, and maybe say maybe whoever her trainer was is also like, maybe he needs not put in prison, but like, we need to look at this guy. Like, what were your training materials? You have so many of these people coming out and, not grabbing their tasers. That's what I see that. And I do think, I think it kind of almost adds to it, where I think if we got rid of women, it would suck. People would be angry about it for a couple weeks, maybe a month, couple months. But I think after it's settled, people maybe would prefer that, and it would just kind of go away, and they would prefer that. On that same element with women though, you as a single guy, that we're going to just change it quite a bit, because I know we're getting close to like the 90-minute mark. You as a single guy, I'm kind of curious where you're getting your relationship advice, and in particular, as a cop, I would imagine there's a lot of girls, liberal-minded, probably just see you as a cop and they go, "Nope, I'm not going to date some guy who kills black people for a living. Like, I'm not doing it." So, tell me a bit about that. Where are you at with that?
There has been some times where I've approached a very beautiful woman, and they ask me what I do, and I tell them, and it's just like an automatic no. And there is that unfortunate shadow that follows me with being a police officer, and it's like, we were just talking for 2 hours. I didn't tell you what I did.
Right.
But then as soon as you found out what I did, then that one thing just supersedes everything else.
Right.
Which really ties into, I try to be the same person in front of the badge as I do behind it. I try I try to have very minimal differences between me wearing my uniform and me not wearing my uniform.
Yeah.
Still the same guy, goofy, likes to have a good time, but there's a little bit more maturity. There's a lot more maturity, a lot more responsibility that comes with me putting my uniform on. So
Right.
it sucks sometimes, but then also there's also other women where like, oh my goodness, you're a cop, it's so hot.
I can imagine that too. Yeah.
But then you also have to have kind of have that sit down with them, like, yeah, I'm a cop, but are you good with, each day possibly being the final goodbye? Like, are you good with, like, it's a very surreal
Right.
statement that you do have to bring to these people's attention. It's like, yeah, you're cool and all, but like, I'm also very different. Like when I get off work, my 2 days off, 9 times out of 10 is spent right here in this bed. And it's not because I'm depressed. It's not because like I don't want to go out and do anything. It's because I'm in my solitude. I lay here with my daughter. We watch TV. We just hang out.
Yeah.
And that's my peace. That's where I find my solitude. And trying to find someone that respects that, understands that it is difficult. I don't really get my dating advice from anybody because kind of like the military, dating in the first responding world is a little
different.
It's different, man. You might get someone else's sloppy seconds, but it's definitely different. So I try not to get my dating advice from anybody, especially some of the ones that have been through 2 or 3 divorces and all this stuff.
Right.
So, but yeah, sometimes it's fun because it's going back to the I'll talk to a girl for. I'll go out to the bar and we'll hit it off really well, and then I'll drop that bomb. I'm like, oh yeah, that's what I do for a living, and then they just like want to stop talking. I'm like, hold on, you think I'm this great guy, picture perfect in your eyes?
It's because they want to smoke
but
weed, dude.
Just I don't care. Weed's legal. Like there was a dude that ran from me. Oh, when was that? Probably back in April, May. A dude ran just because he had weed on him. And the officer that he ran
he bought
from
and paid for at the dispensary.
I mean, it wasn't in its original container, but it's still legal. Like I can't take you to jail for it.
Right.
I can give you a citation for it, but that's it. This dude ran just because he had some weed on him, and he had like the maximum amount of personal use. He had 3 ounces on him, and he ran. And it's like, why? What are you doing?
Right.
Now we're sitting here both tired.
Well, you just got to catch up to when you remind him and you're like, hey, dude, like, that's legal, man. And he's like, oh, dude, that's my bad, bro.
Yeah,
like,
come to find out he had a warrant. So
figures, though. He ran for a reason, man.
Right.
It's funny.
So, but yeah, dating is fun. I like to make a little game of it myself sometimes,
I'm sure.
I'll act like the back home country boy, and then I'm like, oh yeah, I'm a cop, and then I just see him walk away, and I'm like, all right, bye, and then
it might just be the preconceived notion that you say I'm a cop. They might immediately they hear that and they just think, oh, this guy's no fun. They think square. He's a loser. He's boring. Maybe that's what it is.
and that's mainly what it is. And then they, I'll take them back home, and they're like, "Oh, you are not the same while you're at work." Like, yeah, I know. I try to keep it that way because people can't. If people see you in both lights, it's very hard to have that level of respect and authority that you gain and that you already presentably have, compared to when they see you back home and the way that you act back home or outside of the uniform. And that's why people always ask me like, oh, are you going to go back home and work back home? Absolutely not. No. For that very reason, where people have seen me, they know me, they don't want. So now it's going to create more problems when I try to tell them to do something. And now I'm within my power to go do something. Now it's just it's a clash of, it's a contrast of, it's like
Good battle of
conflict,
egos.
conflict of interest
Right.
is what I like to call it, where I'll just avoid that whole area, call it a day. I'll go work somewhere else and have fun there.
That's crazy because that's something I didn't even like think about, but you're like spot on, right? Especially if like, it'd be better to not, forgive me, it'd be better to not have like that extra layer of complexity, which is like,
Mhm.
I know everybody that I'm arresting, right? Like everybody knows me. I grew up with all the people like I'm arresting.
Right.
I get that. It's something I've not even thought about, which maybe then adds to the overall disconnect, right? If
Mhm.
there's a lot of cops who are doing that, right? They're not serving in areas they didn't grow up in. And
Mhm.
so maybe that does remove like that kind of familial element out of it, which I guess would be a very stark contrast to like how most sheriffs are kind of portrayed, right? The sheriff's
Mhm.
office always typically is seen as like the more friendly version of like the Metro Urban Police.
Right.
And then most sheriffs are like, I grew up here. I was the high
Mhm.
school quarterback, like
Yeah.
I've been sheriff for 30 years. And maybe there is something to that though, right? Maybe there is an element of like, maybe that's why those interactions go a lot better.
Mhm.
But you know what? I want to go to one final thing, and I'll turn it over to you for anything you want to throw in there as well. But they're eating the cats and the dogs. I know that and I'm pretty sure you were like around this region when this story was picking up, and
Yeah.
so I want to know from you, as someone who was on the ground who had insight, were they actually eating cats and dogs? What did you
No, they
see
weren't.
from that?
No.
No.
No, they were not eating cats and dogs. Do they sometimes eat the geeses and the gooses and the ducks from the
But
ponds?
sometimes the geese.
Yes,
That's funny.
yes, they do. But no, they are not eating cats and dogs.
That's funny.
I can attest to that. They are not doing that.
That's funny.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
it's a hilarious story, and I love the memes from it.
it's hilarious, dude.
But it seems like the actual real story, though, that didn't get as much play there, was in that same time frame.
Mhm.
I believe the majority of all car insurance companies like hiked their prices in that region by like
Mhm.
300 to 400%. It was insane, and
Mhm.
that was due to the fact of not because they were eating cats and dogs, but because they had an extreme amount of people who were illegal who were driving who should not have been driving, and there's like these
Correct.
accidents, and so I didn't have enough time to grab any photos, but there's like, I mean, I saw photos of like cars flipped upside down. I saw one that was like tangled in telephone
Mhm.
pole lines. It's like, how do
Mhm.
you even get the car off the ground like that? So
It's
what was that
yeah.
like?
There was one call where this female had backed up into one of the security lines that run off the telephone poles. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
No idea how she did it. She couldn't get off it. And she like her back passenger wheel was like caught up near the base, and just I don't know how she did it. I don't. Um
Yeah, like
I
what?
was baffled. I was legitimately baffled. I'm like, how? I've been driving for 10 years and I don't know how you did this. I just started taking pictures like I needed to. I was like, okay, well, click, click, click.
Yeah,
And I was just baffled. And
I would be too.
yeah, I was just like there's no other word. I was just baffled. Like I've seen some like, oh, how'd you do that? And then you can kind of see how they got there. But this girl was just legitimately backing up and did this. Don't know how.
Now the car is 8 feet off the ground.
Yeah,
It's
like it
dangling
was.
from this pole over here.
I was like, I don't know. It's very frustrating because it is a severe safety risk to the general public.
Right.
Like just probably what was that 2 3 weeks ago? There was a motorcyclist that straight up T-boned GMC Envoy. So there's a certain intersection where it's a 3-lane one way through town, and it's just stop signs going across it. And this girl just blew right through the stop sign, and this motor straight onto the B pillar hit. Um,
People,
and
dude.
and wouldn't you know it, she wasn't valid. She'd never been issued a driver's license.
Yeah.
Um, and I I feel for the gentleman that was severely hurt. Um, but I also fear for her safety
Right.
solely because of the type of person and the type of people that this gentleman was associated with. Um,
He's calling the
versus
ICE tip line every night. He was like,
versus
"Come get
versus her nationality. Like it does create a genuine fear for the at fault parties.
Right.
So but then again, like they go out and they pass the test, and what can the BMV do? No, you can't get a driver's license because you
Well,
just passed a driving test.
right. Well, here's the other thing on top of that too, was it was more than just they didn't have the licenses. There was reports that they were being like, in addition to their 3K prepaid visa upon arrival, they were also being mailed out licenses or IDs that could qualify as licenses. And
Yeah.
that was part of the issue too. It's like, what do you mean? They
Mhm.
crossed the country. This guy came from Indonesia, where they don't even have paint on their roads.
Right.
What do you mean you just handed him a driver license? Right? Like
Mhm.
that's not how this can work.
They think it's a Daytona 500, and it's
Right.
and I've noticed a trend where I'll look up a license, or I'll run a license plate, and it'll come back to some sort of hosh posh bagosh business,
Interesting.
but no drivers listed. So it's like, actually, just what's today? Wednesday. So Saturday last week. Yeah, Saturday last week, I got an OVI on someone that wasn't valid, didn't have insurance, and the car wasn't even registered to him.
That's wild. They weren't a citizen. They were under the influence.
Mm-hmm.
And the car, was it stolen or was it just
It wasn't stolen. It was just someone else's car. It wasn't stolen. But this guy didn't have a social, didn't even have a driver's license, didn't even have an ID card, nothing.
That's aggressive because you have so many of these things that have fallen through the cracks. Like I'm sure you saw the thing that in the Ohio school, right? Like the 24-year-old guy from Venezuela was pretending to be like a 16-year-old, and he was in school for like a year and a half. No one had noticed. It was like, how do you not notice a 24-year-old like is
He probably
cosplaying
handed
as
him that
16-year-old?
bench warmer birth certificate where he's like, I am 12. $20 in there.
Yeah, I can play coach. Yeah, it's got $25. Yeah. It's
Written in
sad.
crayon.
Yeah, right, exactly. But I guess I was sad because like what you had said, right? Like the damaged parties. And the reason why I covered it a lot was because there was a protest that happened outside of, I won't name the city, but it happened in front of the city hall. And it was nobody young. It was all old people who were basically saying like, you took all the food out of my mouth. I only get this much money from Social Security. My car insurance has been, $91 since, 2018 or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And now it is $374. It's like the money I have to use to now pay my car insurance is all of my food on my table.
Yep.
And so the way people kind of look at that is they're like, does the general public, I think, is overall they're realizing that how much is actually affecting them from the fact that we are taking on so much of this immigration. And I think it's reached that boiling point where people are like, they don't even care anymore. They're like, because the way they kind of view it is, should I be suffering for you to barely not even try to assimilate and be here? Right. And I think people are saying, what are we getting out of this equation here? And then you look at the EBT and SNAP benefits, right? And then the vast majority of them going to illegal immigrants. And you look at the welfare state, and that's where, for me, it's like, I've always been fully behind like the mass deportations. And I think we should have more moratorium on immigration as well too. Just because, again, like in that region alone, because that's one of the only few ways insurance companies can actually discriminate. It's like smoker status, male or female, region, and there's like a fourth one. That was in insurance for a hot minute. And so that's what they did. All the car companies came together and they were like, we're going to designate this region in Ohio as being 400% more dangerous than any other region in Ohio. And just like that, all these people's car insurance blows through the roof. And then they look at it and they're mad, and who they have to blame? Are they going to blame the car insurance companies? It's hard to when you have cars going in second floors, 30 miles an hour. So who do you blame then at that point? And, and what would you say? What do you think that the solution to that should be?
I mean,
right.
like I honestly think if you ask 100 Americans and you ask them, do you care if people migrate to America? I would put 25 cents down because that's all my mom says I can bet. I would put 25 cents down that all of them would say yes, just as long as they do it the right way.
I think that the answer is changing. I would bet. I don't know where it would sit right now. I don't know if I would say majority, but I would definitely say a plurality of people right now would say send them all back. Every last one.
The ones that aren't doing it the right way and are causing a ruckus, yeah, please do.
And I
Bring the ones that are actually, and I do see this side where I do see I do see the Hispanics and I do see the Haitians actually out here earning a living. And I'm a fault to this myself where I've been surprised when a Hispanic has produced me a driver's license. And I'm like, oh wow. And then but I have to remind myself like not everyone does this. So I'm grateful and I'm happy that you've came here the legal way. You are now documented. You are now all the things. But what are you doing on the back end? What are you doing to to contribute to society? Because great that you came here legal. Happy you're here. Cool. It's a great place to do pretty much whatever you want to do. You can go off and be what you want to be, do what you want to do within reason. But what are you doing? What are you contributing to my society that I am protecting, that I am serving?
Yeah.
I want to know what you're doing on the back end because my daughter, I promise you, I'm not going to put out there someone that is going to live off the government that can't quote unquote fend for herself.
Right.
You know, like if my parents are putting out and I am putting out productive members of society, why don't you I don't care if you speak another language. Cool. Guess what? If you learn English, now you're bilingual, you can get a damn good job.
Right.
It's not like when it baffles my mind that people are like, oh, I need X, Y, and Z because I don't have X, Y, and Z. Do you know how easy it is to get all the letters of the alphabet? Truthfully, it is so easy to go out, get a job, get off ABT, and then make a living for your family.
Well,
But it ties back into people want things right now and they don't want to allow things to build and billow. They want a little crumb. They're getting the little crumb when they want the whole pie. But yet all the ingredients are still in the cabinets.
well, I guess to go back even a little bit, I think that's actually part of the issue is that it's more, they need to do more than be earning a living, right? And you kind of touched on it with like learning English, right? It's the idea of assimilation and the fact of like actually full blown assimilating. And so some of this stuff is kind of exhibited by the fact of when you look at like the No Kings riots, probably like in the early beginning of them, what flags are they flying in those protests? Not American flags. It's the Mexico flag. It's largely was the Mexico flag, Colombia flag, Venezuela flag, a lot of Hispanic flags, but they're flying foreign country flags. And what we're seeing with this mass immigration as well too, and also on the inside of the states, the liberal wing of the society is preaching two things. One, they hate America essentially. They push that idea all the time. But secondarily to that, they push that anybody asking you to assimilate or be more American is like racist, right? So they're pushing people to be exactly who they are. And what you get is you get all these pockets of people. You get little Italy, you have little Mexico, you have little China, and so on and so forth. And the overall is like it clearly is atomizing people. I think it's actually adding to the fact that everyone kind of dislikes each other. That general animosity is like you're different than me.
Yeah.
And that's because they're not assimilating. On top of that, I would also say too, like we're a Christian nation. And so I think that there's an element of that also needs to be involved too.
Mm-hmm.
I would actually go pretty far with that too, but that obviously shows like how right wing I am. Right. But those are the thing are the problems too. I think it goes more than just economically, but economically obviously is the biggest factor. And so because they're coming in and earning wages, that's also like driving down wages here. And this is also with like the H-1B visa debate. This is the thing that I don't know how much of this you maybe even followed, because I know you don't stay hands-on as much as I do. But there was a moment where Elon and Vivek, in short turn of events around Christmas, blew up. I mean, Elon Musk was like posting verbatim, like, what was it? It was like, "Fuck your fucking face," like the most like vulgar I've ever seen Elon be.
Really?
And it was on the fact that there was this push against the H-1B visas. And there was a lot of guys who did really good work, but they showed that the H-1B visas generally, on average, reduced the same categorical job by like, it was like 18.5%, which is a lot of money when you're getting into like the 100 to 120K range. I mean, it's a lot of money in general. And that's why I think it's really kind of hitting a crux, which is we can't really define what an American is, right? Same way like with Matt Walsh. He goes, "What is a woman?" Everyone's like,
Yeah.
And you can ask Republicans the same thing. They're people in general. What is an American? Well, and I don't think you can say, I'm not of the belief that it's an idea, right? I think there was a specific set of people who built this country with a certain set of ideals and beliefs, and partly the reason why we have the Constitution, because it's a Christ-breathed document. It's a very Christian document.
Yeah.
And I think we're a nation that forgets who it is and actively tries to move away from that. I think only bad things will happen from there.
Oh, for sure.
And that's kind of like the overall, like, kind of ominous feeling that people get. But with that, though, I wanted to say, was there something that we didn't touch on that you wanted to talk about further?
No, man, we pretty much hit it right on the head. And I think we've done a really good job of tying the three parts together with this final episode of being behind the badge and getting someone that, one, that you know personally, and two, kind of getting a raw view on it.
Right.
My biggest takeaway that I want someone that, you know, decides to start kind of this mini series from the beginning to end is let things build, let things grow. And I promise you that you'll get a lot more answers before just jumping straight to the point. And that's evidence with a lot of things where, you know, we've had an incident where, unfortunately, a suspect died after being tased, and all people saw were just the aftermath photos.
Right.
And this is actually one thing that I wanted to bring up was, I think, I can't remember which episode it was, but we talked about how people put things online that is the aftermath. So they see something bad happening, and the next thing you know, phone is in your face.
Yeah.
They don't catch the precursor, what happened before that got us to this point.
Right.
There was this big thing where, unfortunately, this guy passed away. People were calling for our heads. They were getting ready to protest in front of police headquarters. The body cam footage came out, and guess how many people came out to protest after that body cam? So they see the photo of the guy.
Yeah.
They see, then like a week later, they see the body cam footage come out.
A lot.
So in between seeing the photo, oh, we're going to protest, they see the body cam footage. That next day they're supposed to protest. Guess how many people came out and protested?
Oh, probably nobody then.
Zero.
Yeah.
Zero.
Yeah.
If people just, and because I'm a type of person like, yeah, I want the answers now, but people need to learn. Just let us do our job. Let the people above us do their job. Let it do it in detail, because we are very thorough. As much as people don't want to believe, we are very thorough.
Yep.
We are very thorough with our investigation. It could be all the way down from a hit skip, someone bumping into someone else's car, and then the car driving off, and all we got is a picture of what the car looks like. We don't even have a license plate.
It's a blurry iPhone photo.
Right.
From the driver's side window.
So we have something that small and minuscule all the way up to a murder case. We are as thorough as possible from low to high. People need to realize that takes time, that takes effort, that takes manpower. We are also people outside of work. We are just like you. We have our own set of problems. We have our own set of, issues. We have our own set of things that we do outside of work.
Right.
The only thing the badge dignifies is what I do for a job. That it openly shows my title.
Yeah.
Like you don't wear a badge and you're a content creator.
Right.
Like you don't have to wear a badge for that.
Right.
You know, you have people that let's see here. Factory workers. Like I know at International Paper, you can show up damn near in your pajamas.
Right.
Like
and I've seen some of those guys wearing like t-shirts, pajama pants coming out of
right. Like, but that's a factory worker. You don't need a badge to know that that's a factory worker. The
Right.
badge just shows it. To me, it's a symbol of if someone is in danger and they see something shiny on my chest, that's probably someone I should go to if I need help.
Yeah.
That's all it signifies to me.
Yeah.
Like that, it just openly and outwardly shows what I do for a living, and I am here to help you.
You said, let them cook and trust the plan.
Listen, the
can get down
Kool-Aid,
with the
the
first one.
Kool-Aid, the Kool-Aid may not be too sugary, but man, we got to drink it. like we may not be a whole lot of sugar in this Kool-Aid, my man, but
No,
got to drink it.
I can't.
Got to drink it.
I walked up to the Kool-Aid pitcher and I walked away. I don't think it's for me.
They got all the flavors dumped into one pitcher.
Yeah, it's the jungle juice that the kids call it nowadays.
Like,
man,
and I get that it's frustrating because it is frustrating to me. Whether though I'm not very politically sound, it's still very frustrating to me because it does affect me. Right? I just have a lot less care for it because it's gonna affect me no matter what. And
Right.
even if it affects me in a good way, I'm still going to get affected somehow, some way, because someone is going to bitch, moan, and complain that they didn't get their way. So then what I got is now going to get taken away to get reevaluated and then represented to the world. Hey, do you like this? No. Someone else says, no, I don't like that. Okay, then you got, so it's just a big revolving door.
right.
Like with the whole overtime thing. I work a shit ton of overtime. Do you know how cool it would be to not have taxes on overtime? But yet,
right.
but yet you look at the bill and it's like you're still setting a cap on it. Like
It was like 15 hours or something like that.
no, it's so for me, if I make like it's either 100,000 or 120,000, maximum 12,500 of that capped won't get taxed.
Right.
So like that'll get deducted off. So however much I make. So if I make $100,000, 12.5 of it is basically like vanished, and I'm only going to get taxed on the 87.5.
Right. They
So
did the
that's-
same thing with the no tax on tips. They did the same exact thing. I
So
don't know if
it's
they
like-
changed it because people caught it at the last minute, but it had a cap on it as well too.
So it's like, would it be nice to not pay taxes on my overtime because I've already paid Uncle Sam, and I make fairly good money as a police officer, so I'm already in a different tax bracket.
Right.
Like I'm paying 22% of my paycheck goes to Uncle Sam.
Right.
So would it be nice? Yeah, but someone bitch, moan, and complain that you can't not tax the people, and it's okay. So we got like,
Yeah.
is it? So it's one of those things. I'm like, cool. I'm gonna get more money on tax season, but I'm still getting taxed on my overtime.
Yeah. I'm still
Because
getting screwed either way.
But like, so like, you
So
got
face it.
you got 3 inches of your dick in your mom and 3 inches of your dad and you moving forward and backward to get out. It's one of those things.
That might be the worst analogy I've maybe ever heard in my life. But okay.
like no matter what, you're just like, all right, and you got to make a decision, and you just got to live with it. So I mean,
Right. No, I get it. Hey,
we're
well,
all-
what a
we're all
great
fucked.
note to end on. We'll leave it at that. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for being here. I do appreciate the support, all the new members, all the new subscribers. I appreciate that greatly. And thank you to River for joining us. And I was also going to say too, it doesn't have to be the last time, especially here with New American Vision. I'm sure some of the guys would love to talk further in detail with like policing with you. Especially with like Zeb, I would imagine too, him coming from the Marines. You also have a former military background too. I know you guys would get off, kick it off pretty well. especially, giving some inside ball, some of this policing stuff and ballistics as well. But appreciate that, man, very much. Any final words from you?
No, just if you guys don't forget to hit that subscribe button. This guy's a good man to listen to. I've known him for a while. He's done a really good job of getting this thing taken off. So he's one of those guys that he's going to listen to you, and you'll be able to sit down and have a good conversation with him. Aaron, thank you for having me on, dude. Caliber, appreciate you.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you very much. And you guys have a good rest of your night. And as always, Christ is King, support Kash Patel, and ban Bondi from public life along with every other woman. Take care, everybody.
Get up and get out. Get out. Get out.
I have a question for you.
Say Christ is Lord. Say Christ is Lord. Say it. You say Christ is Lord. Get out. Get out. Christ